Welcome back to Landmarks Discovered. In this episode, we'll explore John Volk's timeless design for the Royal Poinciana Plaza. We have new episodes of this series that come out every month, so make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. This season, we had the incredible opportunity to curate our first on-site exhibition, which is currently on display at the Royal Poinciana Plaza. And I'm here today with our Director of Programming, Katie Jacob, and our Director of Archives, Marie Penny, to talk about how the exhibition came about. You first came up with the idea for the Volk Walk a few years ago.
Yes, I did. And, it really came about because we received the John Volk collection from his son a few years ago. And this was a great opportunity to bring his collection to the public in a way that is more accessible rather than having to come to our archives and make an appointment and come and see them. So this provided the public the ability to walk around while they're shopping and experience the work and life of John Volk. When we were planning this outdoor exhibition, we really wanted to make spaces that reflected John Volk's life and career. And one of my most favorite spaces in the exhibition is the bamboo room, which we're sitting in.
And Marie, can you tell us a little bit more about the inspiration for the bamboo room behind us?
Yes, so this bamboo room came from a photograph of John Volk and his wife, Jane, who had installed a bamboo room in their home on Phipps Plaza.
And I know we were looking for a way to showcase how much they traveled and where John got a lot of his architectural inspiration from. And we thought this would be a great way to interpret their travels throughout the world, because on the wall behind us, it showcases their travels through the Bahamas, Guatemala, Egypt, and all around the world.
And I have to say, I've found personal fulfillment in walking by over the past few months and seeing people seated with an acai bowl or a smoothie from Celis, enjoying the bamboo room and sitting in the furniture. And it's just great to see his legacy, really brought to life and have it at the forefront of people's minds as they're in the plaza.
So the Volk Walk really came together because we found out that Upmarkets is starting the renovation of the Royal Poinciana Playhouse.
Yes, and I'm glad you pointed that out, because the other alcove that we activated in the plaza features a recreation of the original entry sequence to the Playhouse.
And what's so exciting about that space is that we were able to use John Volk's drawings to recreate the specific railings and awning and the celebrity room door for that space as well.
The Royal Poinciana Plaza is interesting because there are multiple buildings on the site: the plaza itself, the Playhouse, and also the Slat House. Marie, can you tell us about the evolution of the site?
So before there was the Royal Poinciana Plaza, there was the Royal Poinciana Hotel, which at the time was considered to be the largest wooden structure in the world. The hotel suffered damage during the 1928 hurricane, and the portion that was just damaged was replaced with a large greenhouse. The hotel continued to function until 1932, but then was later demolished. The only part that remained was the greenhouse, which we now know as the Slat House.
So that Slat House today is at the center of the office building in Royal Poinciana Plaza. And so you can see the top cupola portion.
Another thing I learned about the Slat House while we were researching this exhibition was that it was actually used as the Playhouse as well.
That's right. Before the Royal Poinciana Playhouse was commissioned, it functioned as a theater.
So when the hotel was demolished, there was all this land over by the North Bridge, and it was bought up by the Phipps family. In 1958, John S. Phipps commissioned Volk to design a shopping plaza in any style that he wishes, but it must endure for 50 years. And Volk chose the Regency style. Something that just came to mind about the Regency style is that it is developed from the Georgian style, which was actually what the Royal Poinciana Hotel was based on. So we're seeing this evolution of the Georgian style to the Regency style in the same place. So Volk is almost modernizing this architectural style for the mid-century.
And it's also interesting to note that at the time, there was a move towards indoor shopping malls. And there was one in particular that you referenced during your research.
So in 1956, just a few years before the plaza was built, another architect, also from Austria and a contemporary of Volk, Victor Gruen, designed what's considered to be the first mall in the United States, Southdale in Minnesota. And Gruen had some similar design concepts as Volk. He wanted to create a space that was inward focused and focused more on pedestrians and less on cars. And this is very innovative during a time when the automobile was becoming so important, and especially where would you park it before you would go shopping. The one major difference is that Gruen designed the building in the modern style, whereas Volk designed the plaza in the Regency style. And in fact, Volk said that he did not want to design the plaza in the modern style because he was feared it would not last, and that he wanted it to fit in with the continuity of the style in Palm Beach.
So we also know that other architects were working in the Regency style at the time, including Clarence Mack, who's responsible for the Regent's Park Historic District.
The Regency style is so unique to Palm Beach in this mid-century time because when we think about the mid-century, we think of more modern styles like the ranch house or the international style. But in Palm Beach, the Regency style was so popularized because it has more of a classic form to it. And it's still allowed for modern materials such as air conditioning to go in, as well as garages for people to park their cars.
The Regency style evokes the neoclassical forms of Andrea Palladio with arched openings, pediments, and urns. And Volk even said that the Regency style was designed in such a way to create more community spaces. And he described it as an extroverted style, which is really interesting. So the community aspect of the plaza was really important from the very beginning.
And you can really see that as you walk through the plaza, through the porticos, through the walkway, into the courtyard. It's really drawing people inside of the space rather than into the parking lots.
Some of the early shops at the plaza included FAO Schwarz, Abercrombie & Fitch, and Sarah Fredericks.
And one piece of the plaza property that people notice is the giant Mysore fig in the parking lot. And the reason that exists today is because the Palm Beach Garden Club with Barbara Hofstadt was really adamant on creating a historic tree program here in the town.
So we've talked a lot about the plaza itself, but going back to the exhibition that we mentioned in the beginning of the episode, it also features some of Volk's most iconic designs throughout his career.
There are examples of several different styles of residences that he designed. And the houses that we selected are all landmark properties as well. So we have an Art Moderne style, there is Mediterranean Revival, and Bermuda as well.
And a Georgian style. I think what's interesting about the Volk collection is it spans such a long period of time. So we can see Volk work in all these different styles that really make up Palm Beach.
John Volk's wife, Jane Volk, was a very important figure in documenting his legacy. She had him write down histories for each project that he worked on. So we were able to go through all of these records along with the drawings, and we're able to bring to life a lot of his projects. And we also have a lot of drawings of the plaza that document the design process as well. So we can see in an earlier rendering that the plaza buildings were separate, and there wasn't as much parking, and there was a less seamless integration of the Regency style. There's also drawings of parts of the plaza that were never realized. So in 1963, they did include 6 additional shops in the center, which ultimately obstructed the view of the Playhouse. And they were going to include 4 gardens that represented gardens of the world in that area, but those were never realized. Volk also had a concept for a restaurant that would have been in the center of the plaza, which was never realized, which we think a lot of people would enjoy.
So we kind of talked about Volk's design evolution, But another thing that we can focus on the plaza is, you know, its use evolution. When it was first open, it was, you know, a community hub, the center of town. People were on the red carpet to go to the Playhouse. And then of course, over time, it fell out of favor. I can even remember when I first started the foundation 5 years ago, the most reasons people went to the plaza was to go to the post office or 2J's. And now, thanks to upmarkets, it's really become another community center. People love to go to the plaza. They love to walk around. They love to see all the shops and eat and enjoy. And I think that's why the Volk Walk was so powerful, because it allows us to talk about John Volk's legacy while people are just enjoying an afternoon.
In speaking to Alex Patterson and hearing her make presentations on the plaza, that, you know, she said it was easy to bring it back because everything was there. You know, the signage, everything was one cohesive vision. And it really just needed the right people who appreciated what it was and saw what it could be. In addition to the rehabilitation of the Playhouse, it's also very timely that we have put on the Volk Walk right now, because we're also working on a new book that will not only be about John Volk, but also include Jane and her work in preserving his legacy. Marie, you've been working with Jane Day, who recently authored our book on Marion Sims Wyeth on that.
Yeah, so this is an exciting project. It's going to be a celebration of Volk's architecture, but also the advocacy and support of his work and why it still exists today. Because for instance, the Royal Poinciana Plaza was landmarked in 2008.
Which is amazing to think how recently it was landmarked.
And by landmarking it, it really allows the plaza to endure for another 50 years.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Landmarks Discovered. We'll see you next month when we visit another landmark in the town of Palm Beach.